This is how I helped a top rhythm player, Osu, go from being able to play 40 minutes with sharp pain to now 7 hours and many back-to-back 5-hour days without any pain in 4 weeks. I'm Matt, and over the past 10 years, I've helped gamers, desk workers, musicians, artists, and many more individuals with their RSI issues. And last year, I put together a mega thread of resources that we're actually currently turning into a book to help more individuals learn how they can better manage their repetitive strain injuries for the wrist and hand. I was fortunate enough to connect with a professional Osu player named Saito to help him work through his RSI and get him back to playing. I created this video to share more information about how I helped him get back to 100%, what you can actually learn from his case, and start on some strategies today to start resolving your wrist and hand issues. And you might actually be surprised by what helped him. Saito let me know that he'd been dealing with the injury since June 21st in 2024, and with his pain active in the region shown only when he would be playing. And after a certain amount of time, he would feel sharp and pinching pain, both at P1 and P2, that would cause him to stop playing. Now, here were some of the limitations that we identified. He would feel a 7 out of 10 at P1 after 40 minutes of Osu and would stop because of the pain. P2 wasn't bothering him recently, but previously had been an on and off problem over the last year with Osu. Saito did go to several doctors who had just mentioned that the symptoms should go away in 3 months because it was an overuse issue. And of course, after 3 months, the pain went away, but the moment he would start to try Osu or play Osu again, he would feel the pain. And this was because the underlying problem of capacity was not being addressed. So he actually attempted exercises, stretching, cooling pads, and other strategies that did not seem to work. And he had also been going to the gym regularly, 5 to 6 times a week, going to failure on every set without any report of difficulty or pain. Now, this is important to note since he had decent overall physical conditioning. His pain was only with Osu, but nothing else. So after a comprehensive assessment to explore the contributing factors, this is what we found. 1, he actually had decent endurance of his wrist extensors, specifically his extensor digitorum. His endurance level was considered 85% of what individuals who can handle 8 to 12 hours of typing and gaming combined without pain. He had a 7 out of 10 after 40 minutes. Now, if you think of it like a health bar, he had around 850 HP when he needed around 1,000 to be able to handle a full 5 to 7 hour session of Osu. So there was this clear mismatch of what he could actually handle physiologically and his symptoms, but I'll get to that soon. Number 2, we found he had poor schedule management. He would just game for long periods of times without breaks and without consideration for his actual intensity. Generally, Saito and other pros that we've worked with would play extended periods of time, 3 to 4 hours without breaks, stretching, or consideration of the other activities on the day, and how that might impact the physical stress on his hand and forearm muscles. And of course, he's young, so this likely wasn't a main problem in his early years of Osu, but over time, this can increase the risk of developing a repetitive strain problem. Number 3, and most importantly, he had a poor understanding of pain and was overly fear avoidant. This, again, a poor understanding of pain and was overly fear avoidant. I repeated this because this is important. And many individuals, especially if you surf Reddit, can become fearful and develop harmful beliefs about whether activity or whatever it is that you do will permanently damage you, or you're gonna get to a point where you need surgery, or you're cooked. Now, we've created lots of videos about the influence of fear avoidance and pain that you can check out right over here or in the description below. Now, additionally, Saito mentioned he believed he had nerve damage because of what his doctor told him. These were all beliefs and cognitive strategies that we had to address. So what was Saito actually dealing with? Initially, it was a strain of his muscle and tendon, the extensor digitorum, but afterwards, it was mostly sensitized pain due to his fear avoidance behaviors. Saito had great overall muscular endurance of the muscle that was involved. Remember, 85% of what is considered normal for those who can spam 8 to 12 hours of their respective game. And this was definitely not consistent with what he was currently doing or experiencing. Now, this supported the suspicion that his fear avoidance behavior was likely contributing to some increased sensitivity and this perceived limitation in his functional ability. Now, for those that don't know, fear avoidance is the idea that if an individual believes their pain means injury or damage, it can lead to avoidance of behaviors like typing, gaming, playing music, etc., because you might be afraid that it can make things worse. Some people face pain head on and slowly rebuild their confidence, but others might become stuck in this avoidance cycle, and that can lead to doing less, feeling more isolated, losing strength, and feeling even more pain. And over time, it can start to feel like a cycle that's pretty hard to break out of, especially especially when it's supported by traditional care visits that mention that there may be a nerve problem. Now, this fear is very real, especially for people who've had painful injuries before or have seen others struggle with the pain. Now, whether it comes from personal experience or stories from others, this fear can lead to long-lasting pain because the less we move, the weaker and more sensitive our bodies can become, and the more threatening movement feels. Now, what I want to emphasize here is that I'm not just saying it's in his head or it's the fear in his head that's creating more pain. It starts with thoughts or fear, but as we deal with pain for extended periods of time, our body can get better at creating the experience of pain. And it can also lead to real changes in our nervous and immune system that make us feel a lot of pain, 7 out of 10 pain at 40 minutes during an OSU session, despite the tissue itself not getting irritated, meaning I could do a full upper lower PPL split of exercise, going to fatigue, 3 rep max, and not have any pain, and then not be able to handle 40 minutes of OSU. These are real inconsistencies due to the complexity of pain. Now, upon feeling that 7 out of 10 pain at around 40 minutes or at various times during his sessions, this scared Saito because he believed that if he continued, it may lead to permanent damage of his tissues and nerves based on what he was told from his doctor. And on top of this, his own research of what he saw online likely didn't help. So it created more fear, created kinesiophobia, and they've been shown to be predictors of chronic pain or increased pain and disability. And this is because it not only creates these cycles of avoidance, but it makes you believe that your body's weak or that you aren't in control of your actual recovery. So Saito developed a lot of fear from what he read online, his own doctor's experiences, and the situations that he read that were similar to his own, and believed that he might end up in the same way. And this influenced what he thought he could do with his wrist and hand, despite being able to go to the gym 5 to 6 times a week, work a physically demanding job without discomfort. Now, most of his fear was specifically around the use of his hands with OSU, which is why it only bothered him then. And again, for those that want to learn more about pain and why this happened, pain is contextual. It's the reason why a violinist's left hand is often more sensitive than their right, or why when you compare a musician or a ballet dancer who both have wrist pain, the violinist will have more overall pain because the use of their hands is more meaningful to them. It has context involved, and this has been proven in the research for over 25 years. We've written all about this. We've created many videos about this you can check out in the description. So what did we do? We addressed these issues that we found, starting with some pain science education. So I taught Saito a little bit more about pain, its complex nature, and how his beliefs and fear around using his hands for OSU contributed to increased sensitivity of pain. And again, for those that might not know what that means, basically your body can create the experience of pain before the tissue itself is actually being irritated or strained. I made a video over here about the health bar framework and the sensitivity line that influences what you feel. Saito was given some homework to read certain articles to learn more about pain during the first week. And he learned about how pain often represents protection rather than the state of the tissues. And with the improved understanding of pain, he actually gained confidence in reintegrating more OSU over the following weeks, when he actually stopped for a really long time. Before we go on, we've spent the past decade helping people get back to work and gaming with in-depth plans that help people safely return to doing what they need to do in front of the desk. And if you're interested in working with us, you can book a free consultation with the link below to get more clarity about what you're actually dealing with and see if we're the right team to help you. Make sure you apply down below. On top of the education, we actually prescribed him an exercise program to help him get to 100% of what's considered normal. While he had great endurance, he was still prescribed the following program. And as you can see, the emphasis was on building higher levels of endurance, upwards into that 30 repetition range. I also taught him more about how to better manage his load. It was important that he learn how to better think of physical stress on his wrists and hands and learn how to incorporate better habits around his playtime. And that meant considering other activities on the day to influence how much he could use his hands, taking more breaks between maps to stretch, gradually increasing his playtime, and how to deload after longer days. Now, in the first week, I wanted to get him some early experience of being able to play without pain and allowed 1 hour daily at minimum, with every third day being more intense. Only if he wanted to, around 1.5 to 2 hours. We progressed this plan as he improved. Now, after 3 weeks, he had already improved 80%. Now, over the course of this 3 weeks, he continued to be surprised that he was able to handle higher intensities and durations without any pain. He was even able to handle 3 hours straight of a 300 BPM map after 2 weeks. Now, this provided strong evidence that he was able to tolerate much more than he believed, and that much of what he was feeling was associated with sensitization or fear, or the real changes in his nervous system that created more pain despite his tissues not being irritated. At 3 weeks, he had no no pain with any Osu, was able to play for 3 hours straight at 300 BPM. You can even see his message, and continued to increase his confidence in the endurance of his wrist and hand. And from there, I actually provided him a general progression schedule to follow. The plan was to gradually increase his overall playtime safely, which he could use as a guideline. He ended up pushing the boundaries with this and was able to get to where he is now, or 4 weeks later, which is playing as much as he wants to without any fear of pain or developing any major injury, upwards of 7 hours a day. And this was clear as he was actually able to hit high scores after we worked together. Now, during this time, I still emphasized the importance of maintaining his exercises, as he still needed to focus on overall endurance if he wanted to continue to play for extended periods of time with minimal risk of developing an injury. Now, if you watch all the way to this point, here's what you can take away from this video. By working on the endurance of your wrist and hand muscles, you can build up your HP, or tolerance to handle higher volumes of play. What you believe about your pain can influence what you think you're able to do with your wrist and hand. And that has a direct consequence of your function and ability to play, or again, use your wrist and hand for things like type. Now, regardless of what may be the cause of your problem, here are some key tips. 1, you do not need to rest. Tissues will get weaker since you aren't addressing the underlying problem. Number 2, you can start exercises right away. You just need to scale the exercises to your level of physical conditioning and endurance. And instead of eliminating your activity, modify. And if you don't know where to start, apply for a free consultation below, and we can give you a lot more clarity about what you need to do. Number 3, you have to consider how you're approaching your gaming or work schedule. Are you taking breaks? Are you adding some stretches during some of the natural downtimes? Are you intentionally working or playing a bit less after a long day? And 4, you have to improve your understanding of pain and the signs of pain. If you know pain, you will know gain. And the more you understand about how pain works and the relationship between your own beliefs and your response to pain and pain itself, the faster you'll be able to make progress with your ability to use your wrist and hand. You just have to show yourself slowly that you can handle more over time. Again, if you're tired of seeing traditional doctors, getting advice to just rest, getting scared by what you're reading online, and you want to just get actual clarity about what's happening to your wrist and hand, just apply with the link down below. We'll give you a lot more clarity about what's going on. And if you're ready to make the investment and we're the right fit for you, we can actually help you establish a clear plan to help you get back, typically in a lot faster than you realize. Otherwise, check out all of these other videos right over here where you can learn more about RSI.